Everybody, and good morning. Welcome to our first intro Psych Twitch live stream. This is Twitch if you've never been on here before. My name is Elisa Setmire and I am your instructor for this class. I see a bunch of you joining me, getting your names in the chat, which is fantastic. Can you all hear and see me okay? Everything looks clear on my end, but just to make sure you can all hear and see me just fine. Someone let me know in the chat. The chat is the way to communicate with me through this. Perfect. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you so much for letting me know. Again, my name is Elisa Setmire. You can call me Elisa. You can call me Professor Setmire. You can just call me Setmire, whatever is the most comfortable for you. But as we go through this live stream, if you would like to communicate with me in any way, please put your thoughts or questions or anything in the chat. And I'm monitoring it on my phone and would be happy to answer anything that you put in there. So again, good morning, welcome. I hope everybody's having a good first week of the semester. What I want to do today, we'll be on here for maybe like 30 to 45 minutes or so. And if you're watching this later, that's totally fine. But thank you so much for those of you who are on here with me live. I think that's a lot of fun to have you here. So thank you. But what I want to do is just kind of go over the website a little bit, show you the ebook site, go over the requirements for weeks 1 and 2, which we are now in. And then every week what I will be doing is giving you a extra credit question. By joining me on here live, you are able to then answer that question on Canvas to get up to 2 points each week. If you're watching this later, you can also get those 2 points and answer the question if you are subscribed to my channel. That way I have the ability to see that you did watch the recording. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on as well. So again, good morning. Let's go ahead and head over to Canvas together and take a look at our website and take a look at the things that we have going on. And again, if you have questions at any point, feel free to put them into the chat. So this is our course website right here. And if you can make it here, you should be in really good shape. Everything that you need to access is right here on Canvas. And so what I want to do is just kind of go through this just a little bit. And if you need more, I did make a video that goes over it in more detail. But just to point out a few things. So you can see on this homepage, here's where you should start, right here where it says start here with the mandatory orientation materials. There's some information here about how to contact me should you need to. Lots of help and campus resources, some course documents and videos, and then from there everything is just organized by weeks. Since we have an 8-week class, you can see each week individually here, and you can access them as they come available. But let's go ahead and I'm going to go into the student view right here just so it looks the same on your end. There we go. And so if I click on modules, the first thing that you'll see on here is the syllabus. So make sure you take a little bit of time and read through the syllabus so that you know what to expect, you know how to get a hold of me, where the division office is. There's a little description about the class and all the things that we'll cover and all the things that you will learn over the course of the semester. Big thing right off the bat, the textbook, and hopefully a bunch of you have already purchased the book, but you do need to get the ebook right away. I'll talk a little bit more about the mandatory orientation, which is due by the end of the day today. But in order to do that, you need to get your book, get it registered, and I'll show you all that shortly. So more to come on that. But make sure that you are getting your copy of the book. It needs to be the ebook because all of the exams and all those materials are accessed on there. You might also consider downloading the Canvas or Twitch apps. I'll be using both of those quite a bit. And you'll obviously need internet for our online class, so make sure that you have access to that. There's some stuff about computer and system requirements, codes of conduct, and class policies. Make sure that you read through all this, but some quick highlights. I really want this to be an inclusive learning environment. I want all of you to feel safe answering and asking questions, posting responses to each other here on Canvas. Make sure that you are paying attention to deadlines. I'm really strict about deadlines. So the way that this course is set up is that you have 2 weeks at a time, access to 2 weeks of materials at a time. So right now we are in weeks 1 and 2, and all of the materials from weeks 1 and 2 will be due by the end of week 2, that Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So you have a lot of flexibility. So make sure that you're always planning ahead and completing things either early or kind of throughout the week. Just be really mindful of the deadlines. Once the 2-week period of time has passed, it is too late to turn anything in from that period of time. Now, if you have something come up and you know that you're not going to make it, make sure you reach out to me, email me. If you contact me before the deadline has passed, I am completely willing to work with you. If you email me 1 minute after the deadline has passed, it's going to be too late. So just be really mindful and aware of deadlines. I have lots of announcements and emails to help keep you on track. But please just remember that in the back of your head, that once the deadline is passed, it is too late to turn in those materials. Give me all your own beautiful and unique work. There's some stuff about Title IX and smoking policies. Let's look a little bit at your grade. Your grade in this class is made up of a couple of different things. There's a little mandatory orientation that I'd like you all to complete. And I'll show you this when we're done looking at the syllabus. But you need to do this by tonight at 11:59 p.m. in order to stay in the class. And in order to do this, you have to get that book. So I'm trying to get you going and on track very quickly. Since it's an 8-week class, things move a little bit quickly. You'll also be doing discussions every week. For every week, you have 2 discussions that you'll be doing. I'll show you those and talk a little bit more about those in a moment. There's a couple of self-assessments that you'll do, kind of reflecting on your effort and progress and grades in the class. You'll do these every couple of weeks just to kind of see where you're at and get some feedback from you. You'll do a closing assignment as we get to the final week, and then there are 4 exams, each worth 75 points, that you'll be taking on the ebook website. So these things right here are going to make up your grade, and you can see here it's all just based on points, based on what you got on those, and you can see the distribution of grades right here and how it all breaks down. If you have a memo with access, make sure you get that to me as soon as you can so I can get you all set up with whatever accommodations you might need. And then I have some resources down here about student tech support, important college information, just some links about services and dates and so on in case you might need them. And then what you can see under that is just our schedule. So weeks 1 and 2 opened up on Monday, and they'll close on the 22nd. So the way that the class works is Monday morning, things will open up. And then at the end of 2 weeks, that's Sunday night at 11:59 p.m., everything will close up and no longer be able to be turned in. So what I've given you here is, here's all the readings that you'll do for weeks 1 and 2, chapters 1 through 4 in our textbook. Here are the different assignments that you'll be responsible for, like the mandatory orientation quiz, the introduction discussions number 1 and 2, and then exam number 1. So just make sure that you're paying attention to this as we go along, and you can see these things as well under the weeks, which I'll show you in a couple of moments. So those are some of the big things on the syllabus. There's a little note down here that our weeks begin on Mondays and then end 2 weeks later, Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I'll remind you of this when we get closer, but our final week does end on a Friday. So you might put this in your calendar that our final week ends on Friday, March 3rd. I'll remind you a bunch of times, but if you want to put that in your calendar now, I wouldn't blame you. And then a little statement about COVID. Things are getting a little bit more back to normal. But if things come up or you're struggling or you have things going on in your life, please reach out to me and communicate with me. I'm very flexible as long as you email me before the deadlines have passed. So make sure you read through all of this. Yes, so you have the discussions are due next Sunday, the 22nd, by 11:59 p.m. Yes, so all of them are due by that Sunday. So, and I'll show you that when we get to the weeks, but just kind of a general overview, you can see them on here as well. Oh, of course, you're welcome. Thank you for asking a question. I love it. It's nice to know that you're all there, even if I can't see you. So that is the syllabus. And if you go back to the homepage, once you've looked over the syllabus, the biggest thing to do at that point is to do the mandatory orientation and then that mandatory orientation quiz. So if you click on this link where it says start here, what you'll see is it takes you to the mandatory orientation lecture and quiz and the introduction discussion, some of those like really early materials to complete. So if you click on this, what I did is I put together a little lecture kind of giving you an overview of what you can expect for this semester. And so I'd love for you to read through this. You can also listen to it. What I've done is recorded the audio on the page. So you can listen to it or you can read it. It's totally up to you. If you miss the sound of my voice, you can listen to it. But you'll notice there's a little like 5-tab format up here at the top. And so make sure you're going through each of those pages. But the first page is an overview, so you're going to want to read or listen to all these pages, read through the syllabus, complete the mandatory orientation quiz, which is on the website for the ebook. Find me on YouTube and Twitch. And this is something I'll talk about a little bit more later, but if you're able to subscribe on my Twitch channel, there's a lot of benefits to that. And about 15 of you I'm going to say there's about 90 of you in total. About 15 of you have done this. So you're welcome to do it now, or you can try and figure it out shortly or when we're done today. But if you can subscribe on here, I'm able to download that you are joining me live. It saves me so much time. Instead of having to go through and match your name to your username, it allows me to download your names, and that saves me an incredible amount of time, so thank you for that. You also get a little football cake next to your name, which I think is fun. I'm obsessed with football, which you may or may not have learned about me from this. And then you minimize the ads as well. So there'll be one ad typically at the beginning, but then you won't have to deal with it after that. And those drive me nuts, so it's nice to get rid of them. And if you aren't able to join me live, if you subscribe on my channel to Twitch, I can see that you viewed the video later, and you can still answer those questions for extra credit. So that's one way you can kind of get around it if you're not able to join me live because you have class or work or something else at this time. And you should not have to pay for this. Please don't pay money to Twitch. What you can do is follow the instructions right here and do that for free. So you can subscribe for free if you know somebody who has Amazon Prime, and that way you don't have to pay for it. So please don't pay for it if possible. The second page goes into a little bit about how the course is organized. So every week you'll be responsible for reading 2 chapters. You'll read the lectures and watch the lecture videos that go with them. You'll do 2 discussions each week, highlighting the topics from those chapters that you read. There'll be 4 online exams related to the chapters that we're covering, 2 self-assessments, and then a closing assignment, things that I mentioned a moment ago on the syllabus. And what you'll see is all these things are compiled under their weekly folders, and that should keep it very well organized and nice and easy to remember. I've been teaching online now for years, and I'm a very meticulously organized person, so I hope that you're able to see that and that it's all really clear and organized. The next page tells you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Elisa Setmire. You can see a picture of me here at a Patriots game. I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. I absolutely love football. Ooh, I can show you this because you're here with me. I won my fantasy football league, so I have my trophy here in my office. My giant Moorpark College fantasy football trophy. Not that I'm proud or excited about that in any way, but I will show it off to you. I'm a huge fan of escape rooms. I have a couple of kids. I shared a little bit of information as well, just so that you could know a little bit about me as the person teaching the class. Somebody asked, I've completed the quiz and submitted it. On Canvas, it doesn't say anything. Yes, so I'm glad that you asked that, Claudia, I'm guessing. When you complete the materials on the ebook site, it actually doesn't bring your scores over automatically into Canvas. So once the deadline passes, what I do is go in and manually bring those scores over. So as long as you have a score in the ebook grade book, that's kind of like a temporary holding spot, and then I will bring those scores over once the deadline has passed. So just double check that you have a grade in there, and you should be all set. I wish it brought it over automatically, but it sadly does not. So don't worry if you don't see it in Canvas. I will be uploading those probably tomorrow after the deadline has passed. So again, a little bit about me. The next page is about computer and internet stuff. If you're having some internet struggles or like pop-up struggles, you might check this out just to make sure everything is set properly. And then the final page has a little bit about help. If you're struggling with Canvas, I have some information about Canvas support. If you're having a hard time with ordering or accessing the ebook, here's an email and phone number for the ebook publisher that you could reach out to. There's also a web support information email that you can send an email to. And of course, you can always email me if you're struggling, and I will do what I can to help you out. So make sure that you flip through and read through all of this. I went through it kind of quickly. And then once you have finished the mandatory orientation lecture, you can go take the quiz on the ebook site, and then you will satisfy that requirement to stay in the class. And before I show you that, if you go to announcements, and I utilize the announcements quite a bit if you haven't seen already. So really important to make sure that you have set your Canvas notifications. That way you're getting all of my correspondences with you. You're getting my reminders and my emails and all of that kind of stuff. But on that very first announcement, I gave you the link to purchase the ebook. And it's right here at the bottom. Make sure you're getting an ebook. It's the 4th edition. It just came out. I just finished revising this, and you'll notice I wrote the book myself, which took me a couple of years to do, and I'm very excited to have finished. So you're buying the ebook. You'll be using it constantly. All of your exams and quizzes are on there, and hopefully it'll be something that's interesting and interactive for you as we go through the semester. So once you've purchased the book, and registered it and everything, which there are instructions here. This is what the ebook site looks like. It says Psyched, and my name. There's a little welcome with a little welcome video that's on here. You can see up here at the top, here's all the stuff that's on this site. So there is a welcome page that we're on. If you click on chapters, this is where you can find all of the ebook chapters that you'll be reading. So you can see the list of them here. So for example, if we click on, let's say chapter 2, that you're reading this week. You can see the outline of all the materials, the objectives, then it goes into summary, and then into the chapter. And again, I wrote all of this, and so hopefully you can kind of hear my voice in it a little bit. The bold terms are the key terms that you can find at the end. There's pictures and little boxes with side notes. There's some little like apply it things on how you can use this information in your life. As we get toward the bottom, continuing on here, and this is just your chapter again that you're reading. Toward the end of the chapter, almost there, we're almost there. There's an in pop culture link for every chapter where I give you some examples of how you can find this in popular culture. There's a video in every chapter on YouTube that I've created that's linked on here that's relevant. And then some application. This one's about how to be a critical consumer. And then at the very end, you can see all the key terms that you can click on to get those definitions. So make sure as you're going through that you're reading these chapters. That's where you can access them right here at the top on the ebook site. There's some additional resources that are on here as well. So there's some little flashcards. There's a test yourself. There's some PowerPoint slides that I use in person. But I thought they might be helpful, so I left them on here. There's some study guides. We're not doing warm-ups. If you were taking this class with me in person, you would be doing that. But there's some extra kind of fun resources on here for you. And then the other big thing on here are the exams. So if you click on this little exam tab up here at the top, this is where you can take that mandatory orientation quiz. This is where you'll take the exams over the course of the semester. And so if you click on this down here, it'll give you some instructions. And this is the little mandatory orientation quiz. So let's take a look at it together, a little benefit of joining me on here live. You get 15 minutes, you only get one attempt, you have to save your answers, all that kind of stuff. So let's open it up and take a look. Just I think it's easier to just show you. So here's the little quiz. You can see at the top there's a little clock that's going to keep track of your time. There's 10 questions. Right now they're all black. So let's do this one. The best way to contact your instructor is through email. So you'll select true. And then you want to save your answer. You have to make sure to save these, otherwise it won't record them when you submit it. So you can see now how it's like an orange gold color. Which of the following is true regarding our exams? All of the above. Save. I'm giving you free answers here. So now you can see that we've done 2 of them. You can skip. So let's say I don't know the answer to number 3. I can skip ahead to number 4, and then it shows it as gray, or skip ahead to number 6. This course is self-paced, allowing you to work ahead at your own pace. That is false. Save, right? And so once you've answered all of them and they're all that orange color, you'll hit I am finished and submit for a grade. And it'll say, are you sure? Right? I only answered 3, but let's go ahead and submit it anyway. And what you'll notice is the second that you submit it, it's going to give you a grade, right? And you can see right here, my grade was a shameful 3 out of 10, though in all fairness, I only did 3 questions. And you can see the ones that you got right and the ones that you got wrong. And remember that this score does not come over to Canvas automatically, but I will bring that score over as soon as the deadline has passed. So what you can do is, if you want to make sure that you have it, you can go to your gradebook on here. And this is more just kind of a temporary housing of a gradebook. So you can see on here that you have a score, and then it'll be brought over to Canvas later. So the biggest reason you're using this site, this is where all your chapters are going to be, where all of your exams will be, and then some additional resources that might be helpful. So when we get to exam number 1, which I'll talk about next week, I'll go through and talk about the instructions and how to take it and so on. But for now, you want to make sure you're doing this mandatory orientation quiz, which is due by tonight at 11:59 p.m. In order to stay in the class. Okay, so that's probably the biggest thing to start with. If you were to get going on anything as of today, make sure that you buy your copy of the book, do the mandatory orientation lecture and quiz. If you click on that start here, you can see here's the lecture, and then the quiz, if you click on it, will tell you to go to the ebook site right here, and here's a link to purchase it if you haven't done that. So make sure you get going on all of that. Are there any questions so far? I know I'm talking a lot and kind of quickly, but I want to be mindful of your time. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them here into the chat. Otherwise, definitely a few more things I want to show you, but I just want to check in and make sure you're all doing okay, since I can't see you, which is a little sad. So if you think of anything, put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll keep going and I'll just keep watching to make sure. There's a bunch of help and campus resources on here. If you have some questions or you're confused, I have a little Canvas orientation, some help with technology. There's some frequently asked questions that you can look over. These are questions that people ask me every semester, and I've kind of compiled them together for you, which might be helpful. You can always email me, of course. There's some information here on how to find me on Twitch and YouTube. So if you're watching this live, which there are about 25, 30 of you on here, then you found me, which is fantastic. Yes, the set time, so it's every Wednesday at 11:30. Every Wednesday at 11:30 we will do the live streams. And you can see that in the calendar, and I sent out an announcement. If something changes, or maybe I'm out of the area for a week, I might let you know. But you can plan on Wednesdays at 11:30. And then once these lectures are done, they actually will be recorded and posted under their week. So you can see right here where it says recording of week 1 live stream. It's not there yet, but when we're done today, I will download it onto YouTube and post it right here so that you can watch it easily from anywhere. And again, if you're joining me live, you can get that extra credit. I'll give you the question that's going to be answered right here. Or if you're watching it later, make sure that you're subscribed to me on Twitch, and then I can see that you watched it and still give you that credit. Okay, so going back up here, if you click on that subscribing to my Twitch and YouTube channel, not to harp on this too much, but do definitely find me on YouTube. I post a lot of YouTube videos. And then if you can, please go through the steps and subscribe on Twitch. I know it's a little bit of a pain, but if you go through this, you can do it for free if you have anyone that you know who has an Amazon Prime account. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of benefits to this. You don't have to deal with all the ads. You can privately message me. You get alerts when I'm online. And selfishly, it really helps me save a lot of time. As I mentioned earlier, if you subscribe, I can download the names of people who watched it live or later, and it saves me an incredible amount of time. I know you understand how precious time is. So if you can take the time to go through these steps, I gave you step-by-step instructions on how to do this with Amazon, where to click, all the little steps to follow. And then I also gave you a little video down here that might be helpful. If you look at the chat, right? So if I come over to this screen really quickly, if I bring up the chat box, if you have the little football cake next to your name, like let's say like Claudia does right here, that means that you are subscribed. So if I scroll up, like there's a lot of people who don't have it. If you have the cake and the crown, you're good to go. Those of you who just have the little crown, you have one more step to do, which I can show you a little bit later. I'll show you at the end. Look, Joey, you just figured it out. Thank you. Again, it saves me so much time. So thank you so much. And I'll remind you every week. I'm going to put this in the chat. I'll take a moment every week to remind you to check that status. When you subscribe for free, it's only good for 30 days, but you can renew it as many times as you want to. So I'll remind you every week just to quickly double check that. But I did make this, post this video here if that's helpful for you, along with all the pictures and so on. Okay, so I can show you really quickly at the end what that last step is, but make sure you find me on those platforms. There's also some information on here about Canvas and how to set your notifications, college services, how to find your grades, psych major information, kind of just a bunch of little help and campus resource stuff that may or may not be helpful for you if you're feeling a little confused or need some help. And then after that, it just goes into the weeks. So every week, you're responsible for 2 chapters and 2 discussions. And then on the second week, you'll have an exam. Okay, so what you'll see is that every 2 weeks, there's basically 4 chapters, 4 discussions, and an exam. And then some weeks you'll have a little self-assessment to reflect on. There's an optional extra credit question every week that I'll be giving you on these live streams kind of toward the end. And you can answer those to get those 2 points. Those 2 points are going to add up, right? It'll make up for a missed discussion or maybe a low exam score. And then you can also find the recordings of these, which I'll post later. And then at the end of every 2 weeks, I've given you like a little wrap-up checklist that tells you everything to make sure that you've done for that 2-week period of time. And we'll follow that format all semester, so hopefully that consistency will make things very easy and clear. But every week, so this week, for example, we have chapters 1 and 2. And then next week, I'll focus on these chapters and the exam and all of that. You can work ahead to next week, but I'll focus on 1 week at a time in these live streams. So for chapter 1 on the ebook site, you should be reading chapters 1 and 2 on here. So if you're reading chapters 1 and 2, that's where you'll do this. And then when we go back to here, you can see that there's a lecture and a lecture video for chapter 1, a lecture and a lecture video for chapter 2, and then the discussions. So you'll want to do all 3 of those things, right? Read the book and read the chapter, read through the lecture, and then watch the lecture video. And once you've done those 3 things for chapter 1, you can move on to chapter 2. So the lecture follows the same like 5-tab format as you saw in that mandatory orientation lecture. Page 1 is always going to be objectives and summary, and you can read it or listen to it. I've recorded it if you would like to hear it. Page 2 is always going to be beyond the book. So here I have like a timeline in the history of psychology, a video about the faces of psychology. Any videos that I post, make sure you watch them, click on my links, read through anything and everything. These materials that are on here should help you to understand things. So make sure you explore everything I give you. In Pop Culture is going to give you examples of shows or movies or books and things that relate to what we're talking about in popular culture. The 4th page is going to be the terms that you need to know from that chapter for the exam. This is kind of like your early study guide. These are the terms I will ask you about for chapter 1. And then finally, the last page is going to be application. Now that I've read this, how can I apply it to my life in some way? There's some links here to websites. So again, click on everything, look over everything. All of it together is going to help you. And then the second part for that chapter is going to be a lecture video. And this is me lecturing to the PowerPoint slides. It'll either be a YouTube link or a Zoom link, depending on the week. When I have a lot of outside clips, it'll be a Zoom link. If there's none, it'll be a YouTube link. And these, you should be watching it and taking notes. This is what you would, in general, listen to if you were in class with me. So make sure you do all 3 components for every chapter. Read the ebook, watch the lecture video, and read through the lecture. Those 3 things together will give you a good picture of what you need to know. Then you'll do the same thing for chapter 2. And once you've read everything and completed that, you can move on to the discussions. So for example, discussion number 1, and you have all week this week and next week. If we click on discussion number 1, and again, if you have questions at any point, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything for you. With each discussion, what you'll see is that there's some instructions at the top. I will always have a little introduction video. You should watch these. I give you a little more information. Some of them are a little old. Look, my hair's so short. Some of them are a little old, but they will give you some information about the prompt, some further instructions and explanation. What you're going to do is always answer my questions. So I have a couple of questions for you that are based on the readings and the book and the lecture. And your responses to my questions are worth up to 13 points. And then you're in charge also of replying to a classmate, which is worth 2 points. So in general, these discussions are worth 15 points in total. I have a little rubric and sample posting page that you can check out right here if you want a little bit more about my expectations and information. But think about these as like little mini papers, right? I'm looking for like a paragraph for each question I give you. You want to elaborate, show off your knowledge and understanding of the materials, and then read through at least 5 of your classmates' posts and reply to one of them. And you're going to do that every week, twice a week. And so for this one, we're looking at chapter 1. And so when you're ready, what you'll do is you'll hit reply, and like a few people have done already, you'll answer my my questions. And again, make sure you're always answering them fully and in detail. Show off your knowledge. Better to give me too much than not enough. And then you'll also reply to a classmate. So let's say I really like what Joanna had to say. I could reply to her by hitting reply right below it. And again, you'll do this for each discussion. Every discussion, you're going to reply to me and a classmate. And you'll do this twice a week. So you have discussion 1 and discussion 2 for this week. And they all have that same like format where you have the instructions, a video, and then my prompts. Right? Nobody's done this one yet, but when you're ready, you'll hit reply. And you'll be doing this every single week. So hopefully it will be kind of second nature after a week or two. But you'll follow that same format. And then on the second week of each 2-week section, you'll also have an exam. And that's what I'll focus on next week. I'll go over these chapters and these discussions and this exam and how to take it and how to study and all of that. But for this week, I'm focusing mainly on this is the website, this is the ebook, these are what the discussions look like, the lectures, what they look like, and so on. So I know it's kind of a lot of information, but hopefully everything is really clear. Remember that you have 2 weeks to complete all these materials. So you could do all of week 1 and then wait till next week. You could finish all of weeks 1 and 2 today, or you can kind of spread it out over the course of 2 weeks. It is totally up to you and whatever works with your schedule. Okay. So before I keep going, are there any questions at all? I just have a couple other little things to share with you. Any questions, comments, anything you're confused about that you want me to show you, or anything at all that I can answer while you have me here live? This is a wonderful opportunity, as a side note, for you to bring questions in. It could be about the content, it could be about the class and what's due, about grades. This is a great chance for you to ask me live and I can interact with you. You can, of course, always email me. You can make an appointment to meet with me on Zoom or even come meet with me here on campus. It's totally all available to you at any time. Okay, so big thing for now, and I'll talk about this extra credit as the last big thing I have. But I'm going to put a couple of reminders really quickly, and I apologize, I'm not the best at like typing and talking, but I'll put it in here anyway. Our next Twitch live stream will be next week. We'll be on, Wednesday, 1/18/23 at 11:30 in the morning. Okay, so again, we'll be doing this every Wednesday morning at around 11:30, and then I have another one after this from the research methods class. But it will be every Wednesday morning at 11:30. And then please, if you have the time today, try and figure out the free subscription. That would be really helpful for you. It'll last for 30 days. And so I really, again, appreciate those of you who took the time to do that. If you did not subscribe, make sure you put your first and last name in the chat at some point so that I can record that you are here. If you're subscribed, you don't need to do it because I can download that you were here live with me. Okay, so perfect. Yeah, if you aren't subscribed, put your name in there. If you are, don't worry about it. The last thing that I will do every week is I will give you an extra credit question. So in order to get credit for doing this, you have to join me live or watch the recording later and be subscribed. Either one will work. That way I give you a little bit more flexibility if you can't quite make it on here at this time or on this day every week. And then what you will do is you'll go and answer that question that I have for you on Canvas. So that's the last thing I will share with you here. And then what I'll do is I'll hang out for a little bit in case you have any questions. That will be your opportunity to ask them of me. So I wrote this out ahead of time, so let me put this in the chat. So this is your extra credit for week number 1. So I'm going to put it here in the chat. Twitch extra credit for week number 1. Okay, so your extra credit question for this week is related to chapter 2. What does the phrase correlation versus causation mean? I'd like you to describe and give me an example. So what does it mean that correlation and causation are not the same thing, or correlation does not equal causation? Describe and give me an example. So when you're ready to answer that after you've read chapter 2, you'll go back to Canvas and you'll notice right here under week number 1, here's where it says optional Twitch extra credit number 1. So you'll click on that. And then it'll remind you right here, right, to either have watched the live stream with me live and you put your name in the chat, or you were subscribed, or if you were subscribed to my channel, that will count as well. And then what you'll do is you'll answer the question on here. So up at the top, you'll click on Start Assignment, and then it'll bring up a text box right here, and this is where you will type your response. Whoops. I can't spell. Type your response to my question. And then once you've typed it out, you can hit submit assignment. It'll give you like a little confetti burst. Ooh, and flowers for this one. Sometimes there's random things in there. So you'll answer these questions. And I grade these typically throughout the week. So if you do it early and get it wrong, I will let you know, and you can always resubmit it. But these are worth 2 points of extra credit every week. So that adds up to 16 points by the end of the semester. I really hope you take advantage of it. Again, either by joining me live or being subscribed on Twitch. Totally up to you, whichever works best for your schedule. And then big thing for the moment, make sure that you get your copy of the ebook right away. Get it registered, get yourself set. Complete the mandatory orientation lecture and quiz. The deadline for that is tonight at 11:59 p.m. If you're having barriers to getting that done, make sure you reach out to me as soon as possible so that you don't end up getting dropped. Remember, if you reach out to me before deadlines, I will work with you. I'm very flexible. But if you email me tomorrow after the fact, it may be too late. So please try and be mindful and remember that. And then once you've done all the mandatory orientation stuff and you've gotten your book and you're good to go, get started on week number 1. What I will do next week is I will cover the materials for chapter 2 and week 2. I'll talk a lot about exam number 1 so you know how to prepare, where to take it, and how to do all of that, some tips for success. And then I'll give you the extra credit question next week as well. Okay, so what I will do from here is I will hang out for a little while. Maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. This is a great time to ask me. If you're feeling good, go. You can take off. Go figure out the Twitch subscription piece. Get started on getting your book and all that stuff. And I will hope to see a bunch of you back next week for our next live stream. So good luck with all of your classes. I hope you're all having a good first week. Now that the rain has calmed down, it's a little mellower. I love the rain, but yesterday was a mess here on campus for sure. So get going on your stuff. I'm going to minimize my video just so I'm not staring at myself because that's awkward, right? But I will hang out for the next like 5 to 10 minutes or so and answer any questions you might have. And then within the next couple of hours, you'll see the recording of this posted on Canvas once I've downloaded it and uploaded it. Yep. Yeah. So for the extra credit, it's due by the 22nd. So everything from weeks 1 and 2 is due by the 22nd, the Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. The only exception is that mandatory orientation quiz, which is due by tonight at 11:59 p.m. Okay. Glad you asked, Forrest. Thank you for checking. All right, so I'm going to minimize my video. You're welcome, but I am still here if you have any questions. And again, good luck with your first week. Hang in there. And I hope this was helpful. Again, I'll be here every week to interact with you live. And if you have any questions, this is always a great time to ask them. All right. Thank you all. Thank you as well. Oh, and I was going to show you, some of you, like the one who just said, awesome, thanks, Professor. You still have one more step to do in order to be subscribed to my channel. So if you go to Twitch, and I can't show you on my account, but let me show you on somebody else's. If you only have the little crown, there we go. Okay, if you only have the little crown next to your name, that means you need to do one more step. You can see there's a few of you who only have the little crown, like this one. right here. So I'm going to show you on a football channel that I watch all the time because I'm obsessed with football and fantasy football. So if you're on my channel, okay, what you have to do is go to this little purple bar. Let me move the screen over a little bit so you can see it better. If you go to this little purple bar underneath my, my channel banner and you click on the down arrow all the way down at the bottom, see how it says right here, use Prime Sub? If you click this button, then what will happen is you can subscribe for free with Prime. That's the last step that a few of you haven't done. And that's fine. Like, it's a little confusing. I'm sorry, but I think it really makes your experience quite a bit smoother, which is why I'm pushing for it. But if you click on this all the way down at the bottom, right? So again, on my channel, Psyched with Setmire, go to this purple bar, right? Can you see it on your end? I feel like I maybe went too far. On your end, click on this purple bar, the down arrow, all the way down at the bottom, use Prime Sub, and then subscribe for free with Prime. And that will allow you to follow me. So my channel obviously is not that one I was showing you on a football channel. This is mine, Psyched with Setmire. So you can find mine and then, you know, do the same thing here. Okay, so again, not to harp on it too much, I won't talk about this nearly as much moving forward. I just want to make sure that you know how to do that and you can find all that. And the instructions, again, are right here under the modules tab. Okay. Again, have a wonderful week. And I'm still here if you have questions, but have a wonderful week. And I will see you all next Wednesday for our next live stream. And if you don't think of any questions right now, you can, of course, email me later. That's totally fine as well. Thank you, too. Yeah, so I can see right here. So a couple of you are asking, obviously, I don't want you to pay for this. This should be something that's free for you. I don't want you paying more money for anything that you need to do. But if you go to our website, you can see right here where it says subscribing to my Twitch and YouTube channels. I went through and showed you step by step by step. And sometimes it takes a little bit for the two accounts to get linked. It should be pretty quick, but if you go back to that channel, remember if you click on that little area right here, this little purple bar, that's where it's going to give you that spot where you can connect the two of them. Yeah, try and get it sorted out. If you can't figure it out, you can't. It's okay. At least you found me. You're on here, so that's good. But if you can figure it out, that obviously would be ideal. And if you can't, and you join me live, then you're good. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being on here. I like your little emoji over there. Very cute. All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and close this up. I have another class coming up here on Twitch in a few minutes. So if you see that I'm live again, it's for a research methods class. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one up. Always look at the title of the stream as a side note. But I will hope to see you all next Wednesday morning for our week number 2 live stream.